The Ticket. Welcome to Riffin with Raff and AD, coming to you live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios, on air and online at theticketfm.com. Now here's former Huskers, Chris Raff and Aaron Davis.
All right, we are back for another week of Riffin with Raff and AD. I might say, or I do say, this is the fastest 2 hours of my week. What do you think, AD?
It does go quick, and it's definitely quick in a good way. When you get kind of caught up in a good conversation, it starts to flow. It's flowing just as good as James Brown was in that song, that outro, that intro.
Come on,
DP. Hey, VJ stomped you this morning.
he tried.
You
He
had the
tried.
song right.
Well, see, but he broke the rule because it wasn't a top 40 song.
Okay.
See, it has to be a top 40 song of the last 40 years.
That was Tupac that sung that one back in
Uh-huh.
the day, but that was not. It was sampled though.
Right. See,
I was
that,
going. I'm like,
see, top 40. Top 40. I said, and he can't play the game with me because I go in a different direction. So he was like, no, I'm not fighting you on music.
DP, I wouldn't even try to play a game with you when it came to music. I know you're an aficionado for a wide variety of genres
Man,
of music.
I'm all over the place. That's the only place to be.
It is,
It's the
man.
only place to be. I say I was born and raised in Virginia, but I'm a DC kid.
I mean, that was the epicenter,
Right.
Of
So
DJs of music.
Right. So I would go, if I went 2 hours south to Richmond, the music was different. If I went another hour to Charlottesville, the music was different. I went down to the beach. I went down to Virginia Beach. The music was different.
Mm-hmm.
If I went up to Baltimore, the music was different. It's an hour and a half. The music is different.
Yeah.
So, and then, I'm a product of like that first group of kids that were bused in America. So I went from a black neighborhood to a predominantly white school. It was like, wait a minute, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to learn.
You had to learn. You
Had to
adjust
learn.
it.
Had
You
to
had to
learn.
adjust.
Music and sports are the two things, the great mirrors of America.
Absolutely.
And it's how we cross streams pretty quickly in America. So I use it. That's what we do.
DP, we got a great show tonight. You guys have had great shows all day, all week. You always do. We got a great show. We got Kenny Wilhite that'll be calling here pretty quick. We have Steve Warren that'll be calling in. Why? Let me ask you this. The prior program with Des Moines Adams, CEO of the Teammates program, you had Coach Osborne on as well. And I know you've had conversations before. And we've talked about this all month long. Obviously, it be National Elementary Month. We're going to keep this conversation going. Why has it been important for you to have that programming, that segment?
Because I'm a product of it. I'm a product of it. I started, when I started coaching, it was to make better situations that I had been in, right? So for the next me, whoever that was.
The next me.
Right? Whoever that was, that I would hear them and make sure they were heard, and seen. I started my own mentoring program as a coach. Started out as a study program. And that study program was an accumulation of a whole lot of ideas from coaches around the country. But what we found out was it was a great personality profile, because kids checked in each week, parents checked in each week, coaches checked in each week. And I found out that I coached 3 sports in high school: football, baseball, basketball. And no matter where I coached, 78% of the kids would carry a 3.5 GPA or higher. 78%.
78%.
But I found the offshoot was I also won 78% of my games because they were connecting in ways that were authentic and true. Shared IQ is a coaching mantra that I use all the time. What you know is pretty impressive. What Chris knows is impressive. What I know is impressive. But together, the shared IQ is much greater than the individual IQ.
Collectively, absolutely.
So that's mentoring. And I found out that my 4.0 student could help my 2.0 student. I found out that my teachers cared more about both of them because the kids showed that they cared.
Right.
And the most important thing in coaching, mentoring, and in life is to show up. So all of this stuff, an entire month of watching the best version of people out loud. There's a phrase I use, love out loud, because the only regrets that we have, that most people have, is that they did not tell or show the people they cared about the most that they did. So love out loud is, if you see something good, say something good. If you have the opportunity, do something good. And most importantly, and it's a simple adage, but it's there, love, Prince, is a hand and a heart. The heart is love. The hand is action. Action without love keeps you busy but doesn't accomplish anything good. Love without action is wonderful, but it doesn't accomplish anything. But it's together where love and action exist, where the best things of humanity live.
Well, folks, that's the show for today. I'm sitting here taking notes. You said love out loud and hand of the heart. So we'll definitely, I want to talk more about that real quick. I want you to talk more about the hand of the heart.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, me and Raff are just kind of talking on the way here about, the next generation. How do we keep that thing going? And you mentioned, we can't quit. We have to keep trying to help this next generation. And mentoring is a huge part of that. And that hand in the heart part is just blew me away.
It's love in action.
It's love in action.
Well, it's the thing that we, like, people say, I love this country, but you have to be active in it. You can tell your significant other that you love them, but you don't show them. It doesn't reach home. You can be in love but without being actively loving. And those things have to happen. As a coach in sports, it's necessary to have a grown-up acknowledge the good in people so that they highlight the good in themselves. Like, it's a coach's clap. We all can identify with how powerful a coach's clap is.
Yeah.
Like, we understand how powerful attaboy, attagirl is. So as a team and as a community, and I this is part of a future TED Talk, but it's great communities make great people, and great people make great communities. Right? They require great families produce great people. Great people produce great families. We just aren't aware, and we don't speak on it enough to keep it occupying the vacuum. We say nature abhors an empty vacuum. It will put something in the vacuum if you don't. Put love into it so it occupies the vacuum, because if you don't, nature will throw some stuff at you.
That's right.
Nature will throw some stuff at you that will occupy it. So through all of this, I've done 2 TEDs. My first one was based on coaching. And the adage was simple. We're a country and a community that's sitting around waiting for superheroes to arrive and fix things. But the reality is, stop waiting. Let's create more superheroes.
That's right.
Let's just create them. It's so easy for me to say, Aaron, good job last week, man. That was amazing. Chris, your prep is on fire. Like, it's just to know that you can give trust. And as athletes, we know how important it is for a coach to trust us, right? Hey, AD, run this drill for me. When I say in this space with this radio station, what I wanted to do was to highlight the best of Lincoln, Nebraska and the Husker Athletic Program. And the greatest compliment I can give you, aside from giving you the amplification, is to leave you alone in it and watch you glow and excel. So when I leave here, that's me saying to y'all, man, I dig what you're doing. I dig what you're doing, because you've earned it and you take pride in it, and it'll be much better because of it. That's what we're here for.
I love it. I love it. You mentioned superheroes. You think about superheroes. Who was your favorite superhero growing up, Raff?
I will go with Superman.
Superman. Big Sky, who was your superhero growing up? Captain America. DP, what about you?
My superhero was my first Little League coach.
Little League coach.
Because he was the first person that told me I was special.
And it changed who you were.
It changed
your trajectory probably in your life.
It changed how I interacted with him. It changed my responsibility around him, right? That accountability thing where, DP, you're a good one. Chris, you're a good one. AD, you're a good one. And you go, well, now I got to be that dude.
Mhm.
Like, I can't do that. So I never, like Big Sky and I've talked about it. I've never much of a Marvel guy, but you have to have superheroes close to you in order for you to activate.
You know, obviously we're from a real world perspective. My dad, my late father, who I share with VJ today, that's, he's been gone for a little short of just 60 days, man. And that's, obviously huge. Not, just fiction wise, it was Spider-Man. But whether it's real or imagined, etc., superheroes they did a lot of things, but one thing they did? They created safe places.
Mm-hmm.
The Batmobile sign goes off. The bat flash goes off, the big signal, Batman's coming. The Amazing Spidey, Superman would change up. And once you've seen those folks, it gave hope.
But you have superhero power. In the talk, it was this. In your space, the first time somebody texts you in a moment of need, that's your bat signal.
That's right.
Because they're calling you nobody reaches out for anything less than love.
Mm-hmm.
Every text, when your child texts you, when somebody you work with texts you, or somebody that needs you, that's your bat signal. That's, hey, Chris, man, only you can provide the thing that I need right now. And we forget it.
Yeah.
We forget it. And look, being a superhero is hard work. It's hard work. But I always talk, like in the TED, I said, there's that moment where you see all superheroes, they're beaten down, or they're tired, and they're on a knee, or they're leaning on something. And then there's that magical moment where they press up against that thing and stand up straight, and you get your back straight, your chest goes out, your chin goes up. And then it hit me. It's every team photo you've ever taken in your life, because we all hit the Superman pose. We all stick the chest out, the chin goes up. Like, we've never had a class on how that's supposed to work, but we all know that that's the collection of superheroes in that space. And you all go, yeah. That's when you know superheroes exist. That's when you know they exist.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Folks, this is 93.7. This was Riffin with Raff and AD. Our next up guest we're going to have is former All Big 8 cornerback Kenny Wilhite when we come back.
Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers is all about the good and creating more of it. More drive-through celebrations, more weekend traditions, more family dinners and lunches, more car picnics and road trips, more desserts, maybe more second desserts, more celebrating being together as much as we can. There's always room for more good and more Freddy's. Keep the good going with the taste that brings you back. You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurancene.com.
You spend more time in your garage than outdoors in the wintertime. Isn't it time to get it organized? Call Travis at Classic Garage Solutions for his variety of organization packages. Turn your garage from a cluttered mess to a clean, organized space that'll be the envy of the neighborhood and something you can be proud of. You don't need to bring the same clutter from last year into the new year. Travis has storage options for cabinets, monkey bar shelving, or slat wall, and more. Call Classic Garage Solutions today at 402-730-1638.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
A mix of sun and clouds this morning, then becoming mostly sunny this afternoon. We'll see temperatures rebounding somewhat to around 37. It will be a little windy, though. Southwest winds gusting over 25. Partly cloudy tonight with a low down to around 24. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, not quite as windy, with a high of around 39. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, sports fans, Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Now back to Riffin with Raff and AD on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back live here, riffing with Raff and AD on this Wednesday night. AD, we have a guest on the line. This gentleman, all Big 8, 1991. Can you guess how many interceptions he had that year?
Half a dozen.
You did your homework. I like seeing that out of you, big dog. Kenny, you here?
I'm here, big fella. What's up?
What is up, my brother?
I can't call it. What up, AD?
Hey, what's going on, K-Dub? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good.
Thanks, man. Thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate you taking the time. I know the schedule is like crazy busy right now, but big bro, we definitely appreciate you for joining us, man. I was looking, we got Big Sky right here. Big Sky, he's one of our teammates here, and he had the music ripping, and I told him to play. There was a song that was playing, and I was like, well, I was thinking about the time that you were there. I was telling Raff, it's been 30 years, bro.
Bro, you showing our age. Stop that.
30 years. You were all Big 8 in 1992. Think about that, bro.
Bro, that's a long time ago. I'm ancient.
It goes quick, doesn't it? It goes quick. It goes quick. Kenny, what are you doing? We know what you're doing now, but tell the audience what you're doing right now. What are you doing right now?
Well, right now, I'm just leaving the gym for playing racquetball. I'm sitting in my car.
You know it.
No. Right now, I'm actually on the football staff. I'm working on the staff as director of high school relations. I do the in-state walk-on program and also the pro liaison. So I deal with the pro scouts when they come in and inquire about our players.
Mm-hmm. Kenny, we know that you're in your 8th season now overall, Nebraska football staff since 2021. Marks your 6th season as the Huskers Director of High School Relations. You just mentioned that and how the importance of that goes. You know, you came to Nebraska, you spent 6 seasons, defensive backs coach at Southeast Missouri State, under our former coach who coached us, Coach Tony Samuel, and native of St. Louis. We'll get into that more, but you had experience at New Mexico State, Dodge City Community College, Emporia State. I mean, you've been around the block in a number of capacities. How has that helped you out now?
Well, in this profession, it's all about building relationships. So now that I'm not on the field actually coaching, I have more time to build relationships with our kids when they come on campus for official visits once they're officially on campus, I'll sit down in my office with them, visit with them, just to be there for them, be that ear for them, be that big brother per se, as a former player.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Kenny, this is Chris, or Raff, I guess, since we're riffing with Raff and AD. Question I got for you is, what is like a typical day for you?
Well, typical day starts about 8 o'clock, unless we have an earlier staff meeting or if we have early practice. I'll get in the office, start checking emails, checking for recruits, watch their film. If I like them, I'll pass them up the ladder. That's an all-day process, an everyday process. It even starts sometimes at night. So it's a year-round deal. There's no days off. You think you have a day off, but then you get an email and you want to check it.
This is Riffin with Raff and AD, 93.7 The Ticket on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. You can call in at 402-464-5685 or the Sarmer Heyman text line at 402-464-5685. Kenny, how many hours of video do you think you watch in a typical week?
Too many. I have to wear readers now. I thought I had great vision until I got off the field and started doing this recruiting part of it 24/7. So I would say probably, you say a week?
Yeah. How many hours of video you just scouring, watching potential prospects to come play at Nebraska?
Well, there's, pretty much from 8 to 5. If I'm there, 8 to 5, if longer. It depends. I mean, like I said, our job never ends. We got to find good football players to come play for us. So, like I said, I can be sitting at home thinking I'm going to watch some first 48, some Dateline from 2020, and I get an email about a kid, and I'm instantly going to turn it on, whether it be on my iPad or my laptop if I brought it home. But, man, it's 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day. It all depends. I sometimes try to shut my mind off and have some me time like I just did at the gym. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like I'm at the gym, I check my phone after every game, see if something's happening. So,
Kenny, just still do. You were always very meticulous. I mean, and folks, first of all, his is the only car you're going to see in a snowstorm still clean. I mean, the rim's going to be clean. The interior's clean. I'm like, how does this car not have any dust or any salt or any snow on it? And he's rolling through a snowstorm. And you were that way about everything. The way that you set up your locker, your shoes are always meticulous. I mean, there were a certain way that you did things, the way that you played football. I remember this, even the way your pads were on. It wasn't a prima donna thing. It was a thing to where things had to be done a certain way. And you've always, for the past 30 years, plus years that I've known you, it was things had to be done a certain way. There was always going to look like you were ready no matter what. And it's like that old saying that Deion Sanders said, if you look good, you play good. If you play good, you get paid good. If you get paid good, you feel good. You have always carried your way in that fashion from the way that you studied, the way you prepared. I can remember lining up against you on the scout team days when you were, one of the black shirts. The way that you did everything is how you do a lot of things. How has that helped you as far as the meticulous job you have now of dissecting film, being very meticulous?
Well, I mean, it started at an early age. I mean, I've always took pride in the things I've done, whether it be on the football field, in the game of life. I mean, it just came down to me ironing my shoelaces. My basketball coach used to make fun of me. I used to iron my shoelaces. Didn't tie my shoe, but he's like, "Why do you iron your shoelaces?" Because I like my shoelaces to look nice. We didn't have much, but when I did have something nice, I wanted to look nice. For say my car, if I got a nice car, I want it to look good. You take care of your car, it'll take care of you. Now, when it comes to football and my appearance, on the way I carry myself on the football field, I tell a lot of guys now, I didn't need a lot of trinkets. Give me my uniform, give me my helmet, give me my shoulder pads. Let's go play. Studied my opponent, so I was ready. I knew his first step off the line, how he released, how he came out of his break, and it's the same way in life. If you study and you do things, it becomes a habit. I'm a creature of habit. So, so that's just me.
So, Kenny, I like trying to add to your working plate of stuff, but say there's I guess maybe a high school junior or senior out there, maybe even a sophomore that, their dream is maybe one day to walk on at Nebraska. Would they just email you, or how would they go about, starting that process? Or I remember back in the day, they used to do like walk-on tryouts and stuff like that. Is that still something that takes place?
Under the previous staff, we used to have walk-on tryouts. I mean, I think with roster numbers, it's hard to have those now. So, but a kid would reach out as a freshman. I can't respond to his email. I'll tell his coach I got his film. I'll start watching him. Then I'll tell his coach, hey, let's get him to camp. I think he's good enough. Let's get him to camp.
Mm-hmm.
If there are upperclassmen, juniors, sophomore, juniors, and then sometimes seniors are email. I watch the film, and I'll evaluate them. I'll be like, hey, can this kid help us in 2 years on special teams? If I think that kid can help us in 2 years on special teams, that's the kid I'm going to stand on the table for. I know the foundation of the University of Nebraska, and it's the surrounding states, the walk-ons. They take pride in this university. The walk-on taught me how to be a Nebraska football player, whether it be an Aaron Davis, Danny Pleasant, Brad Duvall. Those guys taught me what it meant to be a Nebraska football player. I wore the jersey number 19 because there was a receiver on the team. My first year here was in 90. He was number 19.
Morgan, can I guess it?
Oh,
you got it.
Morgan Gregory.
Yes, AD, that's
Morgan Gregory. Big bro, Morgan Gregory.
No, it was not.
It wasn't Morgan?
Gregory was a scholarship player.
Oh, he was a walk-on.
This guy was a walk-on. And I asked him in the stretch line, I said, bro, how old are you? He said 32 years old. I said, what? I said, what the heck? I didn't say what the heck. I said a different word. I said, what are you doing out here with these kids? He went to the military first.
Can you go ahead? I keep telling that story. I can't think of his name, but please go ahead.
He went to the military first, then came and played in Nebraska. Never played it down. He practiced every play like it was his last. And I told him that day, I said, next year, I'm wearing that number. And because you wore it. That's how I chose number 19. And leading until Damian Jackson. That's the reason why I fought for Damian Jackson to be on this team. Because of that guy. Now, do you know who that is?
I cannot think of his name, but I know who you're talking about, Kenny, but I cannot think of his name.
His name is Keith McKell.
That's right. That's right.
Morgan Gregory Ward till his senior year. And Keith McKell Ward. He was also a receiver.
Yep.
And after he got done, I wore.
Yep. Because I think you guys called him Pops, didn't you? Pops or old man?
There you go.
Kenny, stories like that, people just think it was like a random number. That has a lot of significance behind it. And speaking of significance, you think about this, Kenny. A lot of people don't know. You 6 interceptions, in 91. Okay, led the team, became all Big 8. Your career, you had 9. So in 1 year, you had 6. Play professional ball up in Canada. And here's something I did not know about you, Kenny, that you were number 3. Right behind Doug Flutie for the league's Player of the Year award when you played up in the CFL. What was that like being a CFL All-Star in 1996?
Man, I tell you what, let's go back to the 6 interceptions. I got those 6 interceptions backing up 2 seniors and played only 8 games until I tore my ACL. So, yeah, so it was a shortened season, but I had a lot of success. Now going forward to the CFL in 1996, it was fun. Teammate of mine was former Husker quarterback Steve Taylor. He and I are great friends now today. But that's a great league. It's a fast league. You have to be on your toes at all times. As a kick returner, punt returner, and a DB, I finished 3rd in balloting for the MVP of the CFL. I was a Player of the Year of my team. It was a fun season. We didn't win a lot of games, but I had fun. As an ex-quarterback in high school and junior college, as a punt returner, kick returner, I had fun. And I always try to have fun playing the game of football. And once I said I was done having fun, I was done playing the game. But that year was a great year for myself. But if it wasn't for my teammates, I would never achieve those goals.
So do we know who got 2nd place that year?
I do not know.
When I read that today, I was like, I wonder who got 2nd. I remember, wasn't Marcus Allen's brother a pretty decent quarterback up there around that time?
Damon Allen was a great quarterback in the CFL. Yes, he was.
Ken, you grew up St. Louis. You know, I mean, you think about, you grew up in St. Louis, huge sports town, huge sports town. You know, you have all these other schools around you. So tell us what it was like growing up in St. Louis. And number two, a lot of people don't know that you were a heck of a basketball player too. You know, so growing up playing sports, etc., you know, brothers, you know, that you grew up with, what was that like growing up in St. Louis? And the second part of this question is this: why did you choose Nebraska, and what other schools did you consider? Because it's a pretty good story.
Yes. So growing up in St. Louis, I grew up in a house. There was 26 of us in one house.
26.
We lived with my mom's parents. They had 11 kids. So it was my aunts, uncles, my cousins. I'm the oldest of 4 boys. Slept in a twin bed until I was about 13 years old. I said, forget that. I'm tired of feeding my face. So I slept on a hardwood floor. We had mice. We had roaches. We had a cat. The only reason why we had a cat was for the cat to kill the mice. It was a tough upbringing, but it was a lot of love in the house. I mean, I was kind of ashamed of the house. I wouldn't let people come over.
Yeah.
But I mean, when it came down to going to high school, my mom said I was not going to go to a certain school because it was a bad school. So I started going to a school out in South County. It was a desegregation program. I was one of probably 20 African Americans at the school at the time in 1984. I was the first African American quarterback my sophomore year starting varsity. There was a lot of racial things that went on at that time at that school, but it made me who I am today. Again, like I said, I have a lot of close friends from that school. My basketball coach, my high school football coach, we're still close today. Fast forward to my senior year, I didn't take school like I should have. I didn't take school serious, but I think the grading scale was a lot harder out there than it was in the city. But that's no excuse. I didn't take school serious, so I had to go to junior college route. Went to Dodge City Community College, played there 2 years, freshman, sophomore year. Then when it came down to the recruiting process all over again, there was a lot of schools touting me. I was a huge Oklahoma fan growing up. Sorry, the Husker fans that are listening. But I'm going to tell you about a name, and that person's son is on our roster right now. Charles Thompson and Jamel Holloway as an option quarterback in high school and junior college. OU is where I wanted to go. Nebraska came calling. University of Pacific came calling. And you say University of Pacific, that's in Stockton, California. John Gruden was an assistant coach recruiting me for the University of Pacific. I made my final decision. I told Gruden to have his head coach go to my living room in St. Louis. Told Ron Brown, who was recruiting me at the time, to have Coach Osborne to go visit my family in St. Louis. Well, Coach Osborne showed up at Dodge City, signed about 200 autographs in that cafeteria.
Wow.
Flew to St. Louis. Gruden couldn't get his head coach to do it. So when Coach Osborne called me when he was sitting in my living room, I said, Coach, I'm going to University of Nebraska.
Wow. Because he made that commitment, he went to your place and said, this is how much I care about you in the next 4 to 5 years of your career as a collegiate student. That was the deal. That was what sealed the deal.
Yes. And fast forward to me signing, graduating from junior college, the summer in between reporting to Nebraska, I go home and I get shot. I took a bullet for my little brother.
Wow.
My mom said, we're getting you out of here. I called Coach Osborne. I said, Coach, can I come early? He goes, yeah. We pull up in Lincoln. I pull up at the apartment they had me staying in. My mom said, tell him. I said, no, he don't need to know. She said, tell him. I said, Coach, I got shot yesterday. He looked me dead in my face and said, with a needle?
Wow.
I said, no,
Coach.
So I raised up my sleeve and the bandage was on. I said, Coach, the bullets laying next to my bone. They said if they went in and took it out, it would damage all my muscle tissue. So yes, I'm walking around today with a bullet in my left arm. But he told me, and he looked at my mom, he goes, do you mind if we keep him here, get him graduated, and get you guys out of that situation? That's when I knew I made the right decision.
Wow.
I knew that guy had my best interest.
That gives you goosebumps right there thinking about something like that, man. It was more than just football.
More than just football. I wanted somebody to show me that they cared about me more as a person, not just football. Because I knew I could play football, but growing up in that tight-knit family, I wanted to be somewhere where I was cared about as a person. And he showed me that.
Wow. Got to
Okay.
pause after that one.
So, Kenny, when you came up from Dodge City, were you an option quarterback at the time when you got to Nebraska, or had you already switched to defensive back before you got here?
No. Coach Osborne, I told Coach, I said, wherever you need me, I'll play. So I came in as a wingback. Played on the scout team that whole year because they decided to redshirt me because of the bullet. And so I played on the scout team. We played Colorado. I was a scout team quarterback. And the black shirts, they felt it. I pissed them off a little bit that week. But when it came to option teams, I played quarterback. Other weeks, I was a receiver or whatever they need me to be. We tested out the winter before we went and played in the Citrus Bowl. And I ran fast and jumped high. And Coach Osborne called me and said, hey, what do you think about moving the defensive back? And I said, what? What do you think about moving the defensive back? And I said, Coach, wherever you need me to play, I'll play. He said, well, Coach Darlington said you tested well with your vertical and your footwork. He thinks you can help us next year.
Wow.
Moved over there. He had Curtis Cotton, Tyrone Leggett, who were seniors. You had John Reese, Lorenzo Brinkley, Vernon Powell. They were younger guys, and we all battled for it. And like I said, I backed up Curtis and Tyrone Leggett that whole year.
Wow. Can you think about a guy like, all those names are just, stellar players. One in particular, though, this is probably 3 years ago. I was going through the Omaha airport, and I just hear this big, deep voice, AD, Curtis Cotton. Curtis still looked like he can play right now. What was it like? A lot of people don't know, and we'll get into this a little bit later, time permitting, but just the strength index performance. What type of freak of nature athlete was he? Because you were a freak of nature. All those guys you mentioned, all you guys were just freak of nature athletes. What was it about Curtis that you just looked at him like, are you kidding me?
There was 3 guys my career here that I was like, what the heck? You had Kenny Walker, play defensive line. Specimen, body like somebody drew him, action figure. Basketball player, freak athlete. Then there was Curtis Cotton. And I was like, this guy is a corner? Well, he actually played safety, and they moved him to corner because there was lack of depth at corner. And this guy jumped a 42-inch vertical, ran a 4.4, had 6'1", 2, whatever he was. And I was like, oh, my goodness. And with that deep voice, you look at him, you'd be like, I can go to war with that guy.
Yep.
So at your time at Nebraska, Kenny, is there any game that sticks out to you as one that you would remember the most?
The Colorado game my senior year in '92. Oh, my goodness. That
Insane.
Stadium, that crowd. The speech before Charlie McBride gave us, the defense before the game, he spit you all down his shirt, and he had us running down that back stairwell in South Stadium. We could not wait to get out on that field. And when we took that field, the way that crowd was, we knew we had that game. We knew we had it. From the first play when Travis Hill made that sack fumble or whatever play it was in the first series, we said we finna blow these guys out.
Kenny.
And we beat them 52-7.
Yep. I have never, and I could be wrong, and I mean, KU that same year may have been close, but that might be exactly. Remember that one. But which one was on Halloween? Was it Colorado was on Halloween?
Colorado.
Yes.
Yeah, Colorado.
I remember that whole week leading up to, us young guys, me, Riley, Washington. That was our freshman year. And I remember that whole week. I mean, it was just different. I mean, it's always different, but Colorado week was different. And I remember you guys, that game was that was the loudest game I can remember in Memorial Stadium. I mean, it was absolutely insane. And the oranges being thrown on the field, and it was just chaos. And you know what was so cool about it, K-Dub, big bro? Then I know times have changed. There were no cell phones. People just were involved in the game. There was no selfies. I mean, it was just an insane environment. And you had a heck of a game that game as well.
Yeah. I mean, my job was easy. I had Travis Hill, rest in peace. Trev Alberts rushing the passer. John Perella, and Ed Stewart at linebacker. And the supporting cast I had made my job easy. I can't take credit for any of it. We had a hell of a defense that year.
Yes.
But practicing against you guys, that class, every week was harder than every game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Our practices were harder than any game we played.
You know, that has been an ongoing theme with every former player we brought back and every player that on all the different shows. Our practices, games, you know, they were pretty much done by the middle of the second quarter because they were physically tired of getting beat up. You know, and that's something we practiced during the week. Kenny, think about this, man. What you do has changed dramatically, the landscape of recruiting. And obviously we'll want to talk about it without talking about, there's certain things you can and can't talk about. So we also want to be cognizant and sensitive to that as well. You know, it's changed a lot. How much more relationships now with high school coaches around the country with NIL, with the transfer portal, as it was when you first got started? Because, Kenny, I travel the country, as you know, in particular, when I'm around Nebraska, there's not a single high school that I've been to in Nebraska, not a single one, big bro, where they not have had contact with you in some shape or form. And that is saying a lot. And I know what you do. I see it. But to the fans out there listening, one of the hardest working guys that I've met as a recruiter, how important are relationships now?
They're very important. Mickey was on show this morning. He was talking about relationships, establishing relationships, and building trust. Mm-hmm. So when Coach Riley appointed me to this position, I took it upon myself to try to reach out to every coach. I'm still trying to do it today. To reach out to every coach, just let them know, hey, if you ever have a player, if you ever need anything from us, you know, feel free to reach out. But again, the foundation of this program starts in this state. And I take pride in that. Again, under Coach Riley, I told him, I said, Coach, listen, I really appreciate you keeping me on board. Mm-hmm. This is home for me. This place saved my life. Mm-hmm. But we have to establish relationships in state. You have to. Even if a school doesn't have a player, the end needs to be present. Mm. We have to get back to the fact that Nebraska, you have to take care of home first.
Kenny, we want to come back.
Walk-on scholarships. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. We're going to take a quick break, but I want to dig deeper on that importance of keeping Nebraska kids in Nebraska at all possible. Folks, this is 93.7 The Ticket. This is Riffin with Raff and AD. We'll be back real quick with former All-Big 8 cornerback Kenny Wilhite.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
A mix of sun and clouds this morning, then becoming mostly sunny this afternoon. We'll see temperatures rebounding somewhat to around 37. It will be a little windy, though. Southwest winds gusting over 25. Partly cloudy tonight with a low down to around 24. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, not quite as windy, with a high of around 39. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back. For sure. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Today on Hey Culligan, unnecessary contaminants. Here's the referee.
Hey Culligan, that's a flag on my water for flagrant foul taste.
Ooh, that's a tough one, Ref, but the solution is a Culligan Smart RO drinking water system that reduces up to 58 contaminants, making your water safer and delicious.
Yeah, I guess I missed that call.
And with the Culligan Connect app, you always know when your filters need changing.
The water's up and it's good.
Good call, Ref, and we're already on the way.
Try a Culligan water softener for just $9.95 per month. Go to CulliganLincoln.com.
Hi, welcome to Big Chain Bar and Grill. Can I get you a drink? Which game were you hoping to see? Doesn't matter. I don't know what channel the game's on anyway. Are you ready to order? Okay, here's your check. Come back and see us again, okay?
What?
Hey, welcome back into Upside.
Slow down and enjoy the game at the Upside Bar and Lounge. Comfortable seating, plenty of screens, a great food and drink menu, and no one trying to shove you out the door. Come in, hang out, and take it all in at the Upside Bar and Lounge, open daily just east of 27th and Pine Lake.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Now back to Riffin with Raff and AD on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back. Riffin with Raff and AD on this Wednesday night. We are here with Kenny Wilhite. Kenny, one of the things that I see from you is you kind of add that personal touch of a lot of handwritten notes. About how many handwritten notes do you think you write out every year?
Probably about, at least, if it's just recruits, probably about 150 to 200.
You're doing a lot of writing.
So, I love to write.
Mm-hmm.
I love to write.
And you know, Kenny, the reason why I think that's such a novelty thing now, because no one does it anymore.
No,
you know, nothing wrong with a text or, you know, an email or something like that. But when you sit down and take the time to write a letter, decide to write a note, that goes a long way, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, back in the day, we used to get those computer-generated recruiting letters, but we kind of gotten away from that. We do postcards and stuff like that. But I love sitting down with a Sharpie and writing things out to the kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Those things go a long way. You know, you mentioned that you look at, I mean, you're scouring the state, you're developing relationships, you're doing the handwritten notes. What are some things that you look for in a recruit? What are some characteristics? Obviously, they have to be good enough to play at Nebraska. But what are some of the intangibles that you look for when you're thinking about a kid? Because think about this. There's a lot of folks. There's two kids, like I say, born, they're equal talented. What are some of the differentiators? What are some of the things that separate one from another when talent becomes equal? What do you look for?
Toughness. Toughness. And then you have to do your homework, make sure there's no baggage. Check their social media. Make sure there's nothing on social media that could be embarrassment to your program.
Wow.
And then you ultimately want good people.
Mm-hmm.
And people that want to be at the University of Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
The transfer portal nowadays, You know, you gotta want people that wants to be here.
Kenny, talk to us more about that transfer portal. How is that changing college football as you know it as a recruiter? That's your job. I mean, you recruit. And how does that change it?
Hate it.
Tell us why.
It's free agency. It's free agency. That's all it is. I mean, you got a kid that left one school that just won the next championship, went to the school that they beat. Come on, man. What sense does that make? You know what I mean?
Kid from Georgia went to transfer to Alabama, the receiver. I seen that. How do you combat that though? I mean, because this is not going away. You know, and think about what kind of our listeners that are out there listening. Kids have transferred, and even in basketball was more prior to 2 years ago. You know, a year and a half ago when this thing first started. But how do you combat that?
You can't. I mean, like I said, if you establish a relationship and you hope that relationship carries you to keep a kid for 2 to 3, 4 years of his college career. The trust, the kid has to trust you. You have to trust the kid, but ultimately the kid has to trust you that you have his best interest, not only as far as football, but life. You know, you build that trust, and hopefully that the trust that you built with that kid makes that kid want to stay around for 3, 4 years of your program.
Absolutely. And that trust, and you think about, you add in the, and I know this has been a huge topic across the country, not just at the 93.7 the ticket, across the country as far as the NIL money goes. Kenny, let me ask you this, man. Put yourself as a kid today. For instance, what's the quarterback's name? Irwin, right? That's left Ohio State to play at Texas.
Quinn Ewers.
Can you think about you? You're today, you're an 18, 19-year-old kid. How would that change the way that you decide to go to school right now? Now, obviously, you don't know what you know now, but put yourself in the place of a teenager right now and their family. And you think about this, Charlie Batch, former quarterback for the Steelers, Eastern Michigan grad, offered the individual $1 million to transfer. How would you have dealt with that as an 18, 19-year-old kid?
I'm different. I've had this conversation with a lot of guys, some former players, and we had some knockdown arguments about it. I didn't play college football for money. I played college football because it gave me an avenue to get out of my situation.
Right.
I got the opportunity to get a free education and play big-time college football. So I said if I made it to the NFL, I was going to make it and make money. I didn't. If the University of Nebraska did not have a Will Height 19 jersey sold, I don't deserve money. If the University of Nebraska did not use me in a commercial, I don't deserve money. So now, fast forward to nowadays, would I accept money to play for college football? No. And you may call me crazy, but I would not accept money to play college football. For my passion of the game and the way I approached it, I'm playing for the person next to me, not for the value of $1. College football is for college football. If you have the opportunity to play professional football, that's when you make your money. Again, let me say this. If the University of Nebraska is not using me in a commercial or not selling my jersey to make a profit, I don't deserve extra money. You're paying for me to get a free education. Our scholarship checks back then was $275. So imagine surviving off of that. Right. So again, that's just me. That's my thinking. That's how I think. That's how I approach it. I would not, if you call me right now today, and it goes back to my position right now. My love for the University of Nebraska is what has kept me here. I've been offered coaching jobs back on the field, but, turned them down because, one, they may not have been in the right situation. Two, I want to see our program winning again.
Right.
So my love for the university is the reason why I've stayed. I'm passionate about this university. And I talk to a lot of guys that are passionate about this university. And like I said, we've talked about it, and some of them said they would take money, some of them said they wouldn't, unless it was a certain amount. But that's not how I think. I don't do this for money. I didn't play the game of college football for money. I played it for the love of the game and the guys I was lining up with.
Do you think the money that some of these guys are getting today, and gals as well, I mean, just athletes in general, do you think it increases the hunger to do better, to keep the checks coming? Or do you think it decreases their drive because they figure, hey, I'm already getting paid, so why try any harder? What do you think the landscape of that looks like?
I can't speak for their thinking, but some of them, that's all they're thinking about is NIL money.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing it for the love of the game. It's where can I get my NLI money?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't speak for everyone, but I know it has changed the landscape of college football. And will the NCAA step in and put some more rules in place? I think that it needs to be done. Or you're going to get guys like the quarterback at Oklahoma. He left. I mean, he's a starting quarterback at Oklahoma, and he's decided to leave. That's mind-boggling to me. So
it is.
So Kenny, you coordinate the annual pro day that should actually be coming up here in a couple months. Do the scouts in the NFL, do they contact you to come to Nebraska, or is that something that you reach out to them?
No, they reach out to me. I actually just updated our information on the NFL site today to let them know when our pro day is, what time to be here, check in. So they all have to RSVP through me, and I'll get a running tab on who all is going to be here. And then once they're here, that's their day. They run it. I just coordinate it. I make sure our guys are where they want them to be, and meaning our players that are NFL eligible, draftable players. But once they're here, they start it. They run it. I just make sure they have everything they need in order for it to run smoothly.
Mm-hmm. You know, Kenny, with a little bit of time we have left, a few things I want to ask you. You know, you were the you're part. I mean, you're legendary there at Nebraska. The way you played the game, the way you approached the game. What are some things that you've tried to instill in some of the kids today about the Nebraska way? Because you talked about, you know, T. Leggett and Curtis Cotton and Jay Reese and those guys that were some of your age, but the older ones who taught you the Nebraska way to do things. Because how you do some things is how we do everything. What are some of the things that you've tried to impart to some of these younger kids that are there today about when you were there?
Well, I'm trying to get away from when we were there. One thing I have told them is they need to know their history. A lot of guys we're recruiting now don't know the history of Nebraska. So like when former players come around, I'm like, yo, you know who that is? They'll be like, no. And I'm like, bro, you should know your history of the University of Nebraska. Because I took it upon myself. You know, I'm good friends with Roderick Thomas. I'm good friends with Neil Smith. I'm good friends with Brian Washington. I'm good friends with Johnny Rogers, Rich Glover, you know, Eric Crouch. You know, a lot of guys that came before me, a lot of guys that came after me, because I know how much this place means to me. So what I've tried to do with these young guys is know your history of the University of Nebraska.
That's right. And, you know, Kenny, just like you said,
study the history.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
And like you said, it's not about just, you know, sharing like when I was here. It's about just knowing who your family is, the DNA of Nebraska football, everything that made Nebraska football unique that it is. Kenny, we can't tell you how much. We definitely want to have you on again. Can't tell how much it meant to us that you to take this time. I know you still stay. I'm gonna tell you folks right now, Kenny still looks like he can still play cornerback. The dude is in phenomenal shape. In fact, sends me crazy workouts. I'm thinking, no, man, I can't do that yet. But Kenny, brother, thank you so much for taking the time with us tonight. Again, folks, we had Kenny Wilhite, former All Big 8 cornerback for Nebraska, recruiting high school coordinator, state of Nebraska. Kenny, thank you so much for your time tonight. We appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Thank you, Kenny, for joining us. We appreciate it. When we get back, sorry about that. When we get back, we'll be having another guest join us. And right now we will go to break. You're listening to Riffin with Raff and AD.
You spend more time in your garage than outdoors in the wintertime. Isn't it time to get it organized? Call Travis at Classic Garage Solutions for his variety of organization packages. Turn your garage from a cluttered mess to a clean, organized space that'll be the envy of the neighborhood and something you can be proud of. You don't need to bring the same clutter from last year into the new year. Travis has storage options for cabinets, monkey bar shelving, or slat wall, and more. Call Classic Garage Solutions today at 402-730-1638.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
What are you doing, Sip?
I thought the chickens could use some more light in their lives.
So you're building what exactly?
It's a motion censored switchboard. Duh.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Of course. Ow! God! Ow!
Seems like a job for a professional.
Just one more wire. Yep, there you go, right there.
Don't be like Sip. Call Joe at Ambition Electric for any of your electric needs at 402-217-3415.
Need to send a message? Send it with cake. Congratulations. Here's a congratulations chocolate rum cake from Beatrice Bakery. Thank you? Say thank you with an amaretto cake. I'm sorry that I accidentally hit your mailbox with my car as I was backing out of the driveway and then continued right into your prized petunias. You say that with a lemon drop cake. Everybody knows that. Beatrice Bakery in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Here to help you say whatever it is you need to say. Welcome to our world of yum.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome to Riffin with Raff and AD. Coming to you live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Now here's former Huskers, Chris Raff and Aaron Davis.
All right, we are back. It's Wednesday night. Riffin with Raff and AD. We just had former All Big 8, director of high school relations at the University of Nebraska, Kenny Wilhite, on the line. The one thing to me, AD, that really stood out when Kenny was talking was earlier today, you were on with the captain, Vershawn Jackson, and you were speaking about playing at Nebraska and playing for Nebraska. And the whole time listening to Kenny talk, he's for Nebraska.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt the same there too, or
Kenny, the thing about Kenny Wilhite is that he has had ample opportunities to go other places, to be on the field coaching again, which he's an amazing coach. He played the position, great recruit, just all around great guy. I mean, he works for Nebraska, for Nebraskans, for the N on the helmet. That means something to us. There's a major difference when you're playing, you work at a place, you work for a place, and it shows in how he carries himself and how he does things. I mean, from the littlest things to the big things, like we talked earlier with VJ and the captain, and Erwin Sweeney was with us today, and Riley Washington came afterwards. That has been a pervasive theme that you've heard through former players that understand that aspect of it. But, this is even bigger than just, not bigger, but this is transcends Nebraska football. Regardless of what you do, regardless of what your sport is, when you really love something and you're passionate about something, it's going to show in everything that you do. Kenny mentioned recruiting right now has changed. And people, they can love the NIL, they can hate the NIL, they can love transport, they can hate it. But when people can see your passion for your institution, for your school, for your team, those things tend to take a back seat at times. Now we're still early in this game. We don't know how this is all going to unfold when the NCAA steps in and brings in some rules and regulations to try to stop the free agency, which it is right now. I mean, we just call it is. It's free agency right now. But when you have a person on your team and in your office, in your complex, like a Kenny Wilhite, boy, I sure like my chances. I sure like my chances. Are you going to get all of those student athletes? No, you're going to miss on some. And Coach McBride just mentioned that on yesterday, talking with Rashawn on the Captain Show, that there were some kids you did miss. But it should never be because you didn't throw all things at them to say, hey, we want you here. My father-in-law is an agriculture pork producer, but they have, cattle as well. Not relating kids to cattle, but at the same time, to protect your property, you put fence up. And putting those fence posts up is not easy. And putting that barbed wire around all those fence posts is not easy. It takes effort. It takes work. That's recruiting. It's not easy, tomping, those posts down to the ground and then getting the barbed wire and wrapping around. But if you want to keep your cattle in your fields and your pastures, you're going to do what it takes. It's the same thing recruiting. It's not always easy. In fact, it's not easy work. I mean, these recruiters across the country, not just Kenny, they are scouring hundreds of hours, thousands of hours collectively of finding that young athlete that can fit their system. So no, it's not easy work. It's hard, but you know what is hard? Losing's hard. You got to choose your heart. It's like they say, choose your heart. Yes, preparing is not easy. It's hard. But I tell you what, losing's not easy either. All right. So you got to choose your hard and look for the benefits and the return on the investments of that hard work. And that is something that Kenny is the epitome of hard work. The man gets after it. He goes after it. And I think that's something that I think we'll see that. And I think this recruiting class we've seen right now, you bring in a Mickey Joseph, Coach Joseph, a Whipple, a Raiola, and with the staff that we have there right now. I mean, like I said, it takes time. And I know Husker fans are like, yeah, how long are we going to keep saying it takes time? I get that. I can understand that. So I'm not one saying there, I know the magic bullet, the magic pill, but I tell you what, it's not going to be from a lack of hard work with these guys they've brought in. That's for sure.
Exactly. And goes back to at the end, he brought up about the current players that knowing your history and stuff like that.
Yes.
In the past years, one of the things that I've kind of heard is everybody's like, oh, you're always talking about 25 years ago, 30 years ago and stuff like that. And what I want people to know is that is the history, but in no way do those past players or anybody is wanting the current people, well, we don't want them maybe to be as good as what we were because, they'll forget us. And that's never, ever been like that. I think it's just more that players just, they want the current players to know that, hey, this is a family, we're here to do whatever, whatever we can do to make you, be successful. And they want, like watching you, watching games, that passion is there, just like you're, they're playing, 25, 30 years, you're kind of old, but it's like that passion is there and wanting that success. And that's, when I always, try to convey to people is like, oh no, it's not, the history's there, you can always talk about history and go back and tell old stories and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, that support for the current players is, 125%, right. And we want them to succeed as much as possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Folks, we're going to go to break. And we come back, we're going to have former Husker Steve Warren, defensive tackle, that's going to come in and talk to us a little bit, just about, what's going on, what he's doing right now. Also, the impact he had here in today's college football landscape. This is Riffin with Raff and AD on 93.7 The Ticket.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Are you tired of lousy internet and faceless customer service? It's time to experience local, honest, hassle-free, and exceptional. That's the Allo Promise. We not only provide crazy fast fiber internet, crystal clear TV, and dependable phone service, but we choose to become a part of the communities that we serve and love when everyone calls or stops by our store to say hello. So don't settle for mediocre, settle for exceptional with Allo. Visit us at allofiber.com/local.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a ready next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Do you know the signs of an opioid overdose? Talk to your physician and pharmacist about naloxone, a drug used to safely reverse an opioid overdose. I'm Dr. Rob Rhodes, a Nebraska family practice physician. Be Opie ready and download a free overdose support tool, the Opie Rescue app. Search Opie Ready for more information.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, February 2nd and 3rd. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on different models of John Deere and Hagee sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and more. We'll be offering free dicamba certification. Join us February 2nd and 3rd in Kearney. RSVP by calling your local Landmark location or at landmarkimp.com/events.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
Do you know the signs of an opioid overdose? Talk to your physician and pharmacist about naloxone, a drug used to safely reverse an opioid overdose. I'm Dr. Rob Rhodes, a Nebraska family practice physician. Be Opie ready and download a free overdose support tool, the Opie Rescue app. Search Opie Ready for more information.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Now back to Riffin with Raff and AD on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here live with Riffin with Raff and AD on this Wednesday night. Holy cow. My poor tongue. I think I'm just, too busy watching AD in action here trying to get his dinner ordered. I was worried about you getting off the phone in time, and here I am. I'm unable to say Riffin with Raff and AD. But
there's plenty of time. When you're hungry, man, our next guest, he knows what I'm talking about. When you're hungry, you're hungry. I already ate, and I'm still hungry, man. I don't get it.
Only AD, it's all that lifting, I swear.
I'm about to lift a prime rib to my lips pretty soon, though.
Oh, AD. So right now we are joined by, holy cow.
Lay off the water, Raff.
Wow. Way too much water. We're joined by Steve Warren, former Nebraska Cornhusker and Green Bay Packer, All-American, all Big 12. Steve, how are you tonight, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you guys doing?
Steve, I'm hungry, man.
Hey, I just smashed. I left the gym. I sprinted out of the gym. Luckily, I've got a good woman. She got me some food, and I smashed like 2 minutes before I got on the phone. So I feel you, man. When you got to eat, you got to eat.
That's right, bro. Man, I think about it. I wasn't even hungry, man. And then I heard, I don't know what it was. I think on the break room, I seen one of them, Big Sky, what is that? Like one of them little cakes or something like that. And Steve, I was like,
Little Debbie.
No, if it was Little Debbie, I would have ate it, bro. I'm not even going to lie. I would have ate it. I'm not even going to front. I would have ate it. Hey, Steve, man, bro, I appreciate you taking the time. Just because I know you're busy. I know you're crazy busy, taking the time to be with us. And I gotta mention on this. 3rd round NFL draft pick by the Green Bay Packers. First team All Big 12. 99 second team All-American. But those things are great. You know, those things are awesome. But here's the things that you played interior lineman. Does September 12th, 1998 ring a bell to you?
Slightly. Yep.
Slightly. Folks, Steve Warren. Slightly. Yes, the man had 3 pass breakups. All right. How do you do that as an interior lineman? See, I'm going to skip every other question we had first and say, Steve, well, how tall are you right now? How tall were you when you played? 6 what?
6'1", 6'2".
6'1", 6'2". He wasn't playing free safety, wasn't playing linebacker, wasn't playing rover. He was playing nose guard. Now it's nose tackle. How did you what would tell us about that? How did you do that, bro?
Man, one thing is, I think you always have to be like instinctual, right? Like just to know, you know, just to make plays, you got to have instincts. And, you know, that was just part of a knack that I had, was just to be able to, you know, kind of time. If I couldn't get to the quarterback to hit him, I was trying to figure out a way, any way I could, anything to disrupt the pass. And one of the knacks I had was I was able to, you know, get my hands on a lot of balls that they were trying to throw in the passing lanes. And I had a pretty good vertical jump, so I was pretty explosive. So I was able to react fast and move quick, and those are the things you need to do to make plays like that.
Absolutely.
Hey, Steve, this is Raff again. I was just gonna ask you. I guess I ask this about everyone, but like, what is the most memorable game that you had while you were playing with Nebraska?
Personally, the most memorable game I had a 3-sack game my senior year against Texas A&M. I had 3 sacks in that game. I should have probably had 5 or 6. But one thing or another, you know, I didn't get there in time. I probably had, you know, 6 or 7 hurries and 4 or 5 quarterback hits, but I ended up with 3 sacks that game. So personally, that was, from an individual standpoint, that was probably the most memorable game I had. From a team standpoint, you know, of course, winning the national championship in '97 and the Big 12 in '99. But the probably the most fun game I'd ever been a part of was the '97 Missouri game, and the Chevin Wiggins kick and the Matt Davidson catch. You know, that was a pretty incredible game to be a part of.
Steve, you were part of you think about this. You guys were coming, you know, it's 2 years after a national championship, '97. Played in one in 90. Was that '99 against Miami? Rose Bowl?
2000.
99 was against Tennessee again. We
Tennessee
played Tennessee in '99. T. Martin and those guys.
Absolutely. So before we even get into that, though, we've talked a lot about that. Steve, tell me about Steve. Okay, you grew up in Springfield, Missouri. Tell us, what was it like growing up in Springfield? Tell us about how that was growing up for you.
Springfield, man, was it was a lot. Springfield is a countryer version of Lincoln, Nebraska. That's the best way I can explain it. You know, it's the Ozarks, so beautiful part of the country. For anybody who's ever traveled to the Ozarks and been around the lakes and Table Rock and all those areas, we're surrounded by water, surrounded by, you know, lots of land and lots of forest and, you know, great hunting ground, and just a beautiful part of the country to grow up in. Had a big family, very big family that I come from in Springfield. So I felt like I was related to damn near everybody.
Right.
So it was fun in that way because everywhere I went, there was family around. And a very supportive community. You know, when I was playing sports, you know, they really supported me. The community as a whole, you know, when I went into Nebraska, even though I didn't go to Mizzou, coming back home, you know, people became Nebraska fans. So it was good to grow up in that type of environment to where you knew you had support and you had people that loved you and cared for you. And I was raised in a church household. Father was a deacon, mother was the choir director. My mentor was my pastor. So a lot of the time I spent in Springfield, my free time was spent around the church or with people from the church. My best friends, we all went to the same church and grew up together. So it's one of those things where we always say it takes a community to raise a child, and Springfield raised me. Like literally they raised me. Like everybody there was always on me about doing the right thing, and everywhere I went, I knew I had eyes on me. And being a kid with talent, and people knowing I had a chance to get out of Springfield and do something different was good. And, the community itself is not very diverse. It's a small community of African Americans, and poverty is poverty. And so a lot of people in my community from the African American community didn't get a chance to get out of Springfield. There's a lot of people that, were talented, but for one reason or another didn't make it out. And I was able to make it out. So my community made sure that I kept doing the right things and, kept me out of stuff that would, take me to the wrong path that I wouldn't be able to get through. So love my hometown. Shout out to the people in Springfield, Mo.
Absolutely. Steve, Springfield, some of the folks who've not been down before, it's a huge Bible Belt community. I mean, lots of churches.
Yeah.
And me and you both know, we've known each other for years now. My late father was a pastor, and me and you both knew that, man. I mean, eyes were on us at all times.
All times.
At all times.
All times.
You being an athlete and a standout athlete is that there was a lot of eyes on you, I'm sure, from other schools. What are the schools that you consider before deciding on Nebraska, and why did you decide on Nebraska?
My final kind of 5 or 6 was Kansas, Kansas State, Mizzou, Alabama, Illinois, and Nebraska were what I had narrowed it down to. And Nebraska was just, for me, it's about winning. Like every team that I'd really ever played on from a kid, I got spoiled by winning. Like we won games. We may not have won championships, but we were in the hunt. I was never on a losing team. Growing up, so it was just one of those things. Like I just wanted to be around winning. And so for me, it was easy to pick Nebraska because they had just won 2 back-to-back national championships, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I want to be a part of that. Like right. I want it all. Like I just don't, I felt like I could go anywhere and play. I didn't think that was going to be an issue. I was confident in my ability that I felt like anywhere I was going to go, I was going to be able to play and be a starter and contribute. But I wanted to go a place where I could play and also win. And so for me, winning was key. That was number one. I wanted to be around, people who wanted to win and thought like me, and we're gonna do the same things I was gonna do to try to get there. So Nebraska was the spot.
Who was the guy that recruited you? Who sealed the deal?
The great Ron Brown, who is still somebody that I talk to, and every time I get down to Lincoln, I make sure I try to, if I'm at the stadium, I try to go speak to him. He's just a great man, and they knew what they were doing when they sent him to recruit. They do their, hey, look, my mom and pop is about that Bible. If you go to Missouri, we take good Ron down there.
That's right.
Really good Ron down there. So they knew how to get to the family. That's for sure.
Coach probably came down there with a clergy collar on.
Oh man. He came down. I bet he felt right at home though.
I know that's right.
Yeah, the great Ron Brown, man. So he recruited me. Loved my recruiting experience, and the one thing I did like about Nebraska is on my recruiting trip, I remember Coach McBride being Coach McBride and actually telling me like, "Hey, I like you, but you're not like my number one choice." So to me, I was like, "Hey, I kind of like that." Like,
right.
Like everywhere else I went was like, "Oh, they're laying out the the red carpet and throwing roses and putting your name in the rafters and doing all kind of crazy stuff, right, to kind of get you there. And McBride is like, you come here, you know, you got to come and work, and you know, you're gonna be just like anybody else. And I was like, okay, I can deal with that. Like, that doesn't scare me at all. Like, I'd rather be somewhere where I know I'm going to be coached and taught, not just given something.
That's right. That's right.
So, Steve, when you got to Nebraska, was there any certain player, defensive lineman that kind of took you under his wing and kind of showed you the ropes when you got to Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like that whole defensive line was really close. When it came to that of showing us how to do the right thing, Jason Peter was in our room. You know, Talmadge was still around there for a little bit, and I actually ended up playing with Talmadge in Green Bay later in our career. But Grant Winstrom, you know, we're from the same area. Jason Wilkes, spent a lot of time with him. Mike Rucker, being another Missouri guy. Those were the guys that were kind of like my big brothers, right? They were the guys that looked out for me and, you know, and tried to teach me to do it the right way. Jeff Ogard, Scott Saltzman, those guys were seniors at the time when I first got there. So it was a pretty cool room to be a part of. You know, Jason was the man in our room. He was the dude. So it wasn't hard to try to, you know, if you wanted to be the man and you wanted to be somebody that was a playmaker, you just, you know, I could just look to the guy to my left.
Absolutely.
So that was good to have that in the room. And then I had actually met Grant probably the summer prior to my senior year. He was a camp counselor at Central Missouri State. I mean, that was like the first time I met him, and you know, we kind of talked about Nebraska and stuff like that. So it was good to have some familiarity there too.
You know, Steve, a lot of people talk about, and I was listening to Coach McBride talk about this when Rashawn had him on the show yesterday, and I laughed when you mentioned it. He says, "Look, you're not even my first pick." When he said that to you, you know, but that was Coach McBride. There was going to be no smoke blown anywhere. He was going to let you know, if you want this, you're going to earn it, no matter who you were. And he said something yesterday I thought was interesting. I thought about it. He goes, "Guys, a lot of people talk about how good our 94 team was, our 95 defense." He goes, "People tend to forget how good our 99 and 98 and 2000 defenses, yourself, Jason, Grant, the Brown brothers. I can go on and on." He goes, "People forgot how good that defense was." How did you sometimes feel like you guys were overshadowed sometimes by the earlier years, or you just look at it like, look, we were good. We were all good. It wasn't us versus them. It was we versus me. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, you know, I do feel like that 99 defense is a little overshadowed just because we didn't win it all, right?
Good point.
We lost to Texas. We won the Big 12, which is the last championship anybody's won around here, right? It was 99. That's the last trophy in the case. It's 99. But I feel like it's a little overshadowed because at that time, if you didn't win the national championship, you didn't truly win the national championship, you were falling short.
And you guys were killers.
Yeah, we were very good. A lot of NFL guys on that roster. A lot of guys that went on to play a long time in the NFL on that roster, and we made some things happen. So I feel like, that 99 team itself was a little overshadowed, and you know, that was like the younger Crouch and the Bobby Newcomb and the Frankie London ordeal of trying to figure out who's going to be the quarterback, and Dan Alexander at the running back, and Buck and D'Angelo Evans. You know, there was a lot that went on that year, right? With quarterback change, D'Angelo leaving team, trying to figure out who the running back's going to be. We fumbled the ball a ton, but somehow we still broke a lot of records on defense. So that was McBride's last year too.
Right.
So that was the other thing was, you know, for a lot of us was we damn sure wasn't going to let him go out, you know, not on a high note.
That's right.
Not having one of the best defenses he's ever had. And he says it all the time. We don't have to say it because he'll tell you it was probably the best defense he's ever had.
The amount of talent that was on that defense is really phenomenal. And you think about this, you know, when you came in, okay, I'm going to say, and I'm going to really go back for you a little bit on this one, little bro. I don't know if you remember Mike Murray. Mike Murray played nose tackle. Number 74, nose guard. He was like, what, 5'11", maybe?
Might be stretching it there.
Yeah. What was, okay, you think about the lineage of the interior lineman Nebraska had during that long. You know, just how many guys that were there during that time and before you. I can go on and on. There's too many names in this. I don't like mentioning names because sometimes you miss somebody. So I didn't want to go there. You know the history there and how many guys are there. What was the mindset? Because think about this. Everybody's all world, all city, all American, all conference when they come to Nebraska. So that's not a big deal. What helped you with the mindset that you had to shift to perform at the high level you did for so long? Was there a certain moment? Was there an aha moment? Was there an epiphany? You were like, look, I ain't no longer in Springfield. Was there a moment or moments that led to your mentality that said, you know what, I got to step my game up to remain a starter, to keep that black shirt, etc. What were those moments for you?
You know, actually for me, it was a setback. My freshman year, I came and I didn't redshirt. They didn't redshirt me. They decided to play me. Didn't play. You know, we were beating teams pretty bad, so I was a third string kid that came in and played second half. My sophomore year, I started half of the season and got my black shirt. But towards that year, it was that year actually, I actually lost my black shirt at one point. I actually lost it. And they were making an example out of some of us, right? And me being the low man on the totem pole, it was probably easier to make an example out of me than it was some of the other guys. And I wasn't doing everything I was supposed to be doing, to be honest. So I lost my black shirt. And I was like, man, that's real, right? Like, that doesn't feel good. And then my junior year, I came out and, ended up injuring my back. So, you know, my sophomore year, I had a good sophomore year. You know, I had a little ups and downs my sophomore year. Played really good in the Big 12 championship game. Earned my black shirt and stuff back. But my junior year, I ended up getting hurt and hurting my lower back. And so most people don't know that I think I took 3 epidurals that season.
Oh, wow.
Just to make it through. And they were having to, like, physically almost carry me into the locker room half the year before, like, after warm-ups.
Wow.
So I was in a lot of pain, just was all out of whack. My body was all out of whack and ended up having a knee surgery. It was just a bad year. So going into my senior year, you know, they always say players aren't supposed to read the clippings, right? The newspapers. and going into my senior year, I remember I was ranked like, I don't know, in the hundreds for like D linemen. And I just thought to myself, like, there's no way they've got 100 and something guys ahead of me, you know, as far as ranked. And that really kind of lit a fire for me. And it really made me mad because I felt like, you know, I played well, but, you know, my junior year was a setback with the injury. And so I just wanted to go out and prove, honestly, people wrong. It just happened that it lined up for me perfectly that the first probably 3 out of 4 games, I had the number 1, 2, and 3 centers in the country.
Wow.
So I went out and put in work. And I made an example out of those 3 guys. I made an example out of those 3 guys just to kind of put everybody on notice and just say, hey, these are your top 3 guys. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to your top 3 centers in the country.
So adversity was really the thing that helped you. And think about it, that had to be a humbling experience to get your black shirt taken from you.
Oh yeah, very.
You know, that's like, you know, shaving a sheepdog down and say, going outside and play now. You know, he's like, man, you gonna send me out here with nothing on. I mean, that's humiliating. What? I mean, how did you feel? Obviously, you used that, you know, an adverse situation and made it a positive, but that had to be humbling too, though, bro.
I mean, it was humbling, but at the same time, I've always been a realist, right? Like, I've never been a guy that's like had, you know, delusions of grandeur, like of just seeing things the way they weren't. And I knew I wasn't doing things the right way.
Right.
So for me, it was humbling, but it was right. It was the right thing.
Absolutely.
So being a coach and a trainer now and being a former head coach and coaching youth sports, the one thing we always tell kids is take coaching, right? we're not criticizing you, we're coaching you.
Right.
And so that's the way I'd always taken coaching, right? Like I knew I had to take coaching. I had to, I had to eat what they were giving me, whether it was good or it was bad. I had to eat it. And so I took the coaching. I listened, and I think probably out of everything, that's probably how Coach McBride and ours relationship probably grew even stronger, because a lot of guys would not have probably responded in a positive way. And I just shut my mouth and just put my head down and did what I had to do.
I love it.
All right, Steve. So you finish your senior year, go to the NFL draft, 3rd round draft choice by the Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
I have to ask, do you have any good Brett Favre stories?
Oh man, Brett is the dude, man. He is I was lucky enough that my locker was right next to his. We were locker mates.
You and Brett.
Me and Brett were locker mates. So you should think about that. A small town kid from Springfield, Missouri, barely liked to wear shoes, and here I am sitting next to one of the GOATs, easily one of the top 5-10 at the time best quarterbacks to ever play, right?
No.
But Brett was, the thing that I liked about Brett was he was like people from my hometown, Brett Country. So I understood he was just a good old country boy, just like to wear his jeans and his ball cap, and came to work, joked around, was one of the biggest jokesters. He was always trying to crack a joke or make somebody laugh. And AD knows, you guys know, that I'm a guy that loves to laugh.
Yes.
Like, I like to have a good time. So you put somebody around that like me, we're cool. Because I'm the same way. I'm always trying to keep things light. So it was fun to be around him, man. Like it really was. I was actually invited to play in his Hall of Fame flag football game.
Oh wow!
When he got inducted to the Hall of Fame, and I didn't have a great NFL career, right? I tore my quad off my kneecap week 12 in my rookie year, and held on for dear life to make it 4 years to get my pension.
That
was the goal. Get the pension.
That's just sheer grit right there, man.
I don't know. I don't even know if AD knows this, but I was there that day. I saw you putting one heck of a pass rush on that day.
Oh, you were at Chicago when I hurt my knee?
No, I was in Madison for your flag football day.
Oh, were you? I didn't know that. Yeah. There was no pass rush going on that day.
I was also.
We could have just had on flip flops. We were just out there playing and laughing and joking. But that was I'm lucky enough to go do that, right? And then I'm in the locker room with Hall of Famers, like, and I'm sitting there like, how did I get here, right? But I don't know. One thing happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, and I guess those guys, thought enough of me that I'd be a good guy to, I'd come up there and do my job, right? So I come up there and do my job, and that's what I did. Came up there and signed autographs, and hung out with all those big time NFL players, and had a great weekend.
I was also in attendance at Camp Randall that day. I sat next to Barry Alvarez's daughter-in-law's parents, so little connection there as well.
We were all there that day.
Great weekend, right? The weather was great. The game was fun. There was I don't know if you remember, there was a lot of good players, that NFL Hall of Famers in that game. That was the most impressive thing for me, was being around guys that I really kind of idolized.
Oh wow!
And it was crazy about that day was it had been 5 years since Brett had played in a game, and he came out and he was throwing the ball like he was ready to go back and play. I was starting rumors of comeback that day, because he came out firing the ball.
Yeah, he was ripping it.
Steve,
he was ripping the ball. He was ripping it all around the field.
The young man that interjected, that came in and joined us too, is that's Big Sky, man. He's one of our part of the team and does production, man. But he's 22 years old. And he remembered that, man.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but that's the thing about like Green Bay. Green Bay. When I got drafted to Green Bay, my mom called when I went there. When you get drafted, pretty much the next day, the next 2 days later, you're up there and you're working out. My mom was like, "Well, what's it like?" And I was like, "Mom, when I left Springfield and went to Lincoln, and I never really felt like I left home. I left Lincoln and went to Green Bay, and it never felt like I left Lincoln. It was like the same type of community atmosphere, smaller places, like college town type places, and just great fans. And everywhere you go, like I remember getting off the plane, and I took a couple friends with me. I remember getting off the plane for the Hall of Fame game, and there were all these people there, like wanting autographs and stuff. And my friends were like, "People actually still remember you?" And I was like, "I guess." I guess so. But it's that type of place, right? It's a lot like Lincoln. Like if you do something good there, they'll remember you and they'll love you forever.
Steve, we're going to go to a quick break. And we'll come right back to you because I got a big question for you when we come back, and I think I want you to shed some light on. Folks, so we are here with Steve Warren, all-world former defensive lineman for Nebraska. This is Riffin with Raff and AD on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll see you in a sec.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Hi, welcome to Big Chain Bar and Grill. Can I get you a drink? Which game were you hoping to see? Doesn't matter. I don't know what channel the game's on anyway. Are you ready to order? Okay, here's a check. Come back and see us again, okay?
What?
Hey, welcome back into Upside.
Slow down and enjoy the game at the Upside Bar and Lounge. Comfortable seating, plenty of screens, a great food and drink menu, and no one trying to shove you out the door. Come in, hang out, and take it all in at the Upside Bar and Lounge, open daily just east of 27th and Pine Lake.
Winter is upon us. Is your home prepared? If your furnace isn't keeping up or you've thought about replacing it, John Henry's has a new year, new unit special. When you purchase a select heating and cooling system from John Henry's, we will give you the furnace for free. There are also equipment and LES rebates up to an additional $850. This offer expires February 28th, so don't miss out. Find out more at jhlincoln.com or give John Henry's a call or text today.
435-5555. Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Bagels & Joe is ready for winter with white chocolate raspberry cream cheese, great on any bagel. And try a grilled Italian panini for lunch with ham, prosciutto, banana peppers, and provolone on a sun-dried tomato bagel. Bagels & Joe, 4 Lincoln locations. At Buffalo Wings & Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings & Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings & Rings.
Allo knows businesses need reliable communication, both at the office and at home. Now more than ever. Just listen to Bill Mitchner from Lighthouse.
Before we'd have breaks in service, especially for internet, but we've never had any issues with Allo. It's always been there and available when we needed it.
At Allo, supporting your business is our business. To get your free quote and switch today, visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685 today.
Fruitcakes are just for Christmas, right? Gosh, I feel sorry for you. I mean, what if we had done that with bacon? Bacon is only for breakfast. We'd never have bacon cheeseburgers. We'd never be able to save a salad by adding bacon bits. We'd never have Brinner. That's breakfast for dinner. Don't limit yourself. Fruitcakes for St. Patrick's Day. Fruitcakes for graduation. Fruitcakes for Thursday. Beatrice Bakery and Grandma's Fruitcakes are perfect for every occasion. Check them out in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop.
but you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order online now from the new Wingstop located at 5001 O Street.
Do you know the signs of an opioid overdose? Talk to your physician and pharmacist about naloxone, a drug used to safely reverse an opioid overdose. I'm Dr. Rob Rhodes, a Nebraska family practice physician. Be Opie Ready and download a free overdose support tool, the Opie Rescue app. Search Opie Ready for more information.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to Riffin with Raff and AD on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back. Riffin with Raff and AD on this Wednesday night. We're joined by All-American Steve Warren. Steve, the question I got for you now is, you said you came to Nebraska because you wanted to win. And the last few years, Nebraska football team has struggled a little bit. What do you think goes into changing that, or what do you see, or is there anything that you see that sticks out that that we might be able to do to change it around so get some wins next year?
When you're losing, there's so many things that affect that cause that. The biggest thing, I always feel like when there's a losing team, there's usually a lot of guys that are pretty selfish. That's usually when you have talent and you're losing, it's usually like some internal strife, right? Some internal stuff that's going on that you really can't see in a game, right? You can see it when it falls apart. When you feel like teams aren't really fighting as hard. But I would say there's got to be, a lot of self-check. But I'm going to sound old right here when I say this, but kids today are different. Like they are. Like it's very different. It's a very different culture from when we played to when they're playing now. There's a lot more out there. It's a lot easier to quit and to move on than it was when we were playing. A lot of times we AD, there's a lot of guys that if the portal was as hot as it is now, then
I've been gone.
It'd have been a lot of guys gone, right? And a lot of guys just stuck it out for 2 or 3 years, then it ended up panning out for them the right way. But there was a lot of guys that would have left in those first couple of years, and it would have been different. So I think there's so many things now that cause, teams not to be great. But I always kind of point the finger back to there's something internal that's got to change because X's and O's are X's and O's, right?
That's right.
A lot of times it's not about a great play call. It's about a player making a great play. And when things aren't going well, it's if you're not a cohesive team and you've got a lot of selfish guys, it's not going to turn the corner on its own. That's something that's got to be done together. So if they want to win, they're going to have to figure it out together. Coaches can only do so much. It was just when we were playing at Nebraska, like Coach McBride didn't make a lot of great defensive calls. We played base defense and base coverage.
Right.
Probably 80 to 90% of the sacks and the interceptions and the pressures we got were just basic coverage. He wasn't trying to disguise or do anything. It was just we had 11 dudes on the field that wanted to make something happen. And we loved each other and we played for each other and we held each other accountable. And that's one thing I'll say now that's different with kids. there's not a lot of accountability with each other. Everybody wants to be pretty cool. Like, and I can say that because I coach, right? And I train.
Right.
I very rarely get a kid that will speak up to another kid for doing something stupid. Very rarely. And that's changed over time. And it's actually gotten worse. Like, you don't find a lot of kids that will, step up to another kid and say, "Hey, man, chill out."
Right.
You don't see that a lot. And so those are the things that it takes to win. You got to hold each other accountable.
That accountability. Go ahead.
And that's a huge piece of winning is accountability.
Steve, that accountability piece you mentioned, kids today, a lot of players today, not all, won't stand up and say something because they want to fit in, want to be cool. We generally loved each other. You cared about each other, respected you. It was we versus me. And you also mentioned that you just, there was nothing exotic about what Coach McBride and the defensive staff called, because they didn't have to, because you know what they had? They had want-to players. They had a want-to mentality. You guys just wanted to. We wanted to. And the great teams, regardless if it's back then, whether it's right now, you find players. You look at that national championship game. There was a bunch of want-to plays on that game. They just wanted it more. I look at it, you being a coach, and to our listeners out there, Steve is not just a guy who played, but he also coached, and he coaches now. We're going to get into that in a second on this last segment. But Steve took over a team at Omaha Concordia High School years ago. They were getting blown out. Getting the brakes beat off of them on a regular basis. You came in and changed that quarter, that whole, not that quarter, but that team and that organization. You got guys to be accountable. The very things you just said to us, you brought accountability. If your teammate's messing up, you tell him he's messing up. You took away the me and changed it to we. You also had guys that wanted to make want-to plays, and you didn't care if the guy was a senior or a freshman. I'm putting on the field who wants to play, who wants to make the big plays, who's going to say something to a teammate when they do something wrong. And again, you think about this, we had the Unity Council. And Steve, we didn't want to be called in front of the Unity Council.
No.
Because that was your peers.
Hello?
Go ahead. Well, I can still hear you, brother.
Yeah, I said, no, not a place you wanted to be. I ended up there once or twice.
Yeah.
It didn't take but once or twice. Like, it's not a place you want to be.
That's right. So the players, that accountability system was there. And you know what, Steve, I want to segue in this because you've created that. You just didn't talk about, these kids today need to change. Because we hear a lot about what people say about these kids today. Well, these kids today are soft. Not that you've said that, but you've heard it, what you do. These kids are soft, and these kids are trophy generation. My response to that is, who's giving out the trophies? We have nurtured and cultivated a culture we despise. So we've nurtured the cause, but we curse the effects of it. You didn't just talk about it. You said, I'm going to do something with it back in 2006 when you created the Dream Mentoring Academy. Steve, real fast, tell us about that and why you started it.
It was to help. When I finished playing, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. So, my playing career ended sooner than I'd liked it to. I ended up playing 6 years professional ball total. But when I finished, I just didn't want to go sit behind a desk, and I always felt like, business-wise, I could go do a lot of things and help run companies and change the culture from inside from a CEO standpoint. But I wanted to go do something that was really community driven and helping kids out. And I'd always kind of been placed in a role to where I was either like a counselor to my friends or to their friends, or for one reason or another, I was kind of ended up being the guy that people came to talk to about things. When I was in college, there would be parents that would bring their kids to my doorstep and say, "Hey, will you talk to Jimmy because he's messing up?" So it was something that was always kind of in me. And then when I got done playing, I said, "You know what? I'm going to start something that's going to help kids and give them, resources to do things better, and to hopefully get them a chance to maybe get out of a situation and it's not so ideal." So that's why we started the organization. And we started in a time that it was actually an economic crisis. We started in 2008 during during the recession, and people thought I was absolutely crazy.
Well, Steve, I tell you
Start a
what,
nonprofit.
you
And
started
I
that.
kept telling them,
Well, I tell you what,
What's
Steve,
that?
we got to go in, Tim, but I'm telling you what, to learn more about Dream, go to dream.org, join dream.org. Steve, thank you so much, brother. This is Riffin with Raff and AD
Our public
on
school
94.7
teachers
The
want
Ticket.
every child to learn, grow, and succeed. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the NSEA. School's in session, and it's key to build a partnership with your child's teacher. Visit with them and ask for an overview of your child's strengths and areas for growth. Ask for